Hey, what's going on guys? Shri Kanase here and welcome back to another Shopify video. In this video, we're going to be talking about split testing and exactly how you should be doing split testing when it comes to Facebook ads. Since the past year, what I've noticed is that people have started to split test more often when it comes to Facebook ads, which is actually a really good thing. But the main problem with that is that people don't really know exactly how you should be correctly split testing when it comes to Facebook ads, and that's exactly what we're going to be covering in this video. But if you're somewhat new to Facebook ads and you're not really sure what exactly split testing is, let me clarify really quick. Split testing is when you test one thing compared to another thing on Facebook ad, and what this does is it lets Facebook decide for you exactly which one to use. It could be split testing an ad copy or a video thumbnail or even an image ad. But these things really help you when it comes to split testing on Facebook ads because you're supplying Facebook with more data, and when Facebook gets more data, it gets really happy and you get more options to choose from when it comes to a winning ad set or winning ad copy. But if this is the first time you're watching one of my Shopify videos, pause this video for about 2 seconds and smash that subscribe button down below. We're growing extremely fast. But without further ado, let's jump right inside my computer and I'll show you guys exactly how to split test properly. Alright guys, now that we're inside my computer, let's go ahead and figure out exactly how you should split test properly and what is the exact way to get the best results when it comes to split testing. So the first thing that I want to cover when it comes to split testing is the previous common ways which we actually split test and what other so-called Shopify gurus would tell you when it comes to split testing. So the first thing that we normally do when it comes to split testing is we split test using different audience targeting. Maybe we create 5 to 10 different ad sets with different audiences, or we could also split test using different lookalike audiences. This is where the 1% to 10% split testing comes into play when it comes to lookalike audiences. But these are two common ways to split test and the most used ways. Another way to split test when it comes to Facebook ads is split testing different ad photos or different video creatives. Again, this is another way most of the people out there really split test and spend most of their energy on. A third way is split testing different countries. In fact, many people just go right ahead and start by targeting worldwide with a few excluded countries, or most of the people target the top 5 countries and they usually leave it at that. But let me tell you guys that that is not a good way to go, especially once you find a winning product, because it is up to you as to how you supply Facebook with the correct data and what you want Facebook to use. Facebook is only going to decide based on what you provide. But if you really want to tweak your ad sets and basically squeeze out as much ROAS as you can from each product, then you want to give Facebook a little bit more data than just going with worldwide targeting or top 5 targeting. Don't get me wrong, top 5 targeting or worldwide targeting is a really good place to start if you're brand new and just testing a brand new Shopify product. But once you find a winning product, you are responsible for giving Facebook the correct data so that you can use that data to get you even more results. So again, the easiest way people go about split test is using different targeting when it comes to countries. Another way that most people do is test different ad accounts. And I don't know how successful this is for a majority of people, because for me personally, I've not had much success with using different ad accounts. But many people say that it works for them, so that is what they do. And the final common way to really split test is using gender. Many people go as far as to use the breakdown tool which Facebook ads provides you to split down the gender and figure out whether the males or females are interacting the most. Because trust me, you don't want to target males for a female specific product or females for a male specific product. If you're doing audience research and you find out that 80% of males are more interested in a specific interest that you're targeting compared to females, I would suggest that you go ahead and go with male targeting instead of female targeting. But now that we've covered that, let's go ahead and move on to the real way to split test. And the first way to do that is through ad creatives. First thing that I have on this slide is that you need to create ad copies which are directly related to specific audiences. And this is where males versus females really comes into play. Let's say you're in the golfing niche and you find out that 85% of males are interested in the interest golf, while only 15% females are interested in the interest golf. You want to specifically target males when it comes to scaling your ad set from maybe $5 to $10, or even when testing the product in general, when you're just starting out with testing. And this is because we want to target the majority of the audience instead of trying to target the whole audience, but then not really diving into a specific audience. And it is really important that you target a specific audience right from the beginning if you know that most of the males are interested compared to females, because you can create your ad copy that way. And that is exactly what I've written on this slide. So the first point is that you want to create ad copies directly related to specific audiences. If you're targeting the interest golf or a golfing product in general, and you're only going to target males, you want to include words in your ad copy which the males would most likely relate to instead of the females. Since you're only targeting the males in this ad copy, you have a much narrower audience that you can target, and that also means that you can narrow down your ad copy so that it is really related to the males. Think of words that males would use in this niche. What kind of words do they call each other? What kind of words do they associate with? What kind of images would they prefer on the ad copy? Would they prefer to see a female swinging or a male swinging? So it is really important to figure out what your audience is and then target that specific audience using different ad creatives. So split test your ad creatives, targeting the males separately. Let's say you're targeting a product which is kind of 50-50. Then what I would recommend specifically is to create few ad sets targeting the males only, and then create a general ad copy directed towards males, and then create a few more ad sets of the same interest. This time you want to only target the females and use words in the ad copy that relate directly to the females. This is really going to give you an advantage over most of the dropshippers out there, because you're directly honing into your specific audience and bringing to them the words that they want to see instead of you trying to do the guesswork. Because when you do general targeting with words that are kind of related both to males and females, you end up kind of confusing the audience itself and not targeting anybody clearly at all. And this is really reduced, and your marketing will be much more successful if you take the time to create ad copies for males separately from the females. Another way that you can test your ad creatives is by using different thumbnails. I know a lot of you guys simply use video ads when it comes to Facebook advertisement. One thing I recommend is that you test both image ads and video ads, because some products do much better on image ads compared to video ads. In fact, the first winning product that I personally found did the best when it was an image ad, and absolutely did not work at all when it was a video ad. So I would have lost out on a potential 6-figure winning product had I not tried image ads. So definitely try out image ads compared to video ads. But if you're trying only video ads, one thing you want to test is different thumbnails. And let's say you're testing $5 per day ad sets. When you do $5 per day ad sets, you want to be trying 2 different ad copies compared to only 1 ad copy. And the reason behind this is that let's say you're targeting the interest golf, and the interest golf has an audience size of 10 million people. When you have only 1 ad copy running within that ad set, whatever audience Facebook decides to show that ad set to, they're only going to see that specific ad copy, and it's basically a hit or miss at that point. But when you give Facebook the ability to choose from 2 different ad copies or even more, what Facebook does is, instead of just going out and trying to find one specific audience, Facebook goes out and tries to find different pockets within that audience. So you are basically using the shotgun approach, as I like to call it, because just like a shotgun, when a shotgun is shot, bullets are scattered on different places instead of just going directly in one specific way. If you use 1 ad copy, you're doing the sniper approach, and with Facebook ads, the sniper approach may not work the best. That is why you want to try including more ad copies and testing different ad creatives when it comes to advertisements, specifically using different thumbnails for your video ads. So again, when it comes to $5 per day ad sets, you want to have 2 different ad copies. Either it could be 2 different text ad copies, or it can be 2 different thumbnail ad copies. You can use the same text and just change up the thumbnail. But if you're running $10 per day ad sets, you want to increase that a bit and test 3 different ad copies instead of 2. The only reason why I recommend 2 ad copies instead of 3 for $5 per day ad sets is because with the $5 per day ad set, Facebook is already working with a low budget and is going to have trouble spreading out that $5 per day ad set within these two ad copies that you have tested. If your budget is $5 per day, Facebook ads is only going to spend the $5. It is not going to spend more just because you have two different ad copies. And the same thing applies to $10 per day ad sets. Just because you have 3 ad copies does not mean it's going to spend $20. It is still going to spend $10, but what Facebook is going to do is it's going to choose the best winning ad copy among those 3 ad copies, which is why it is so crucial for you to test different ad copies right from the beginning. And this applies to whether you're just starting out with a brand new product and in the product testing phase, or you're scaling your product. You want to either be targeting specifically to males and females, or if you want to just go ahead and target the general audience, at least split test the thumbnails of your video ad. And if you're doing image ads, split test the different images. But let's move on to our second way of split testing, and this is through the use of CBO, which is also known as a campaign budget optimization campaign or a normal campaign. So when it comes to CBOs versus normal campaigns, what you generally want to do is you want to run a normal campaign with 5 to 10 ad sets using normal targeting as you would when testing a brand new product. And this can be done again if you're in the testing phase or if you're scaling a product. Basically, run a normal campaign as you would normally do with 5 to 10 ad sets. But if you want more information on how to really test via Facebook ads, the link should have popped up in the top right corner to watch one of my videos on where I go in depth with how to launch products correctly on Facebook ads. But use that technique to launch ad sets in a normal campaign, and then what you want to do is choose all of those 5 or 10 ad sets that you just created and duplicate them into a brand new CBO campaign. Again, I have a video on how to do a campaign budget optimization campaign. The link should have popped up in the top right, but simply duplicate these chosen ad sets into a brand new campaign and make it a CBO running at either $50 per day or $100 per day depending on your budget. And trust me, you're not going to spend all of this money. You're only going to spend until the CBO reaches its profit margins. But the main reason why we're doing these 2 steps is because we want to see whether your ad account supports CBO campaigns or normal campaigns for a specific product. Using a technique like this would really work the best when you're scaling, but it would work just as good if you're in the testing phase for a product. The main reason why it does so well when you're scaling is because you already know which interests are getting you the results, and you can simply duplicate those interests into a brand new campaign and make it a CBO to see whether the CBO performs better or the normal campaign. But once you have these 2 split tested campaigns running side by side, and you want to launch them at the same time of the day, by the way, you want to go ahead and start monitoring the stats. Monitor this cost per link click, the CTR, the add to cart, and most importantly, cost per purchase. Because in the end, the cost per purchase is what is going to get you the sales. I mean, I haven't heard of a guy so far who has deposited link clicks into his bank account, because if you can't really deposit link clicks into a bank account, I think I would be a millionaire by now. But trust me, the only thing you really want to focus on when it comes to the end is cost per purchase. These other stats are important, but the main thing is again the cost per purchase. But once you have these split tested campaigns optimized and running side by side, you want to really monitor them for a day or 2 and see which one is getting you the best results. Again, you can only let the CBO run until it reaches your profit margins. Let's say you buy a product on Aliexpress for $10 and you sell it for $40. That means your profit margin is about $30, which means you can spend about $30 on your CBO. So do exactly that. Let the CBO run until $30 spent. And if it is not getting you any types of purchases, then you want to go ahead and just stop that CBO and focus on the normal campaign. But try using this technique for the testing phase as well as the scaling phase. And let's move on to our next slide, where I talk about split testing when scaling. So when scaling, it is super important, even more than when you're in the product testing phase, because you have finally found that winning product which you were absolutely dying for. It is your responsibility to squeeze as much profit as you can out of it, because trust me, once the product quote dies, it really hurts. So make sure to squeeze as much profit as you can from that product. But the proper way to split test while scaling is the following. There are 3 different ways you can do it, but once you reach the $25 per day ad set level, which means you currently have ad sets running at $10 per day that are doing well and you want to duplicate them to $25 per day, that is when you want to apply this first scaling technique. And that is looking at the previous original ad sets which were already running. It could be the $5 per day ad set which you duplicated, or it could be just the $10 per day ad set. But make sure it's been running for about 3 to 5 days and look at the ad copy. See if there is a specific ad copy which has gotten you results. If you followed the first step that I went through, you should have 2 to 3 ad copies depending on your budget. What you want to do now is look at the ad copy which is bringing you the majority of the results. And when you duplicate that ad set to $25 per day now, you want to go ahead and immediately pause the ad copy which was not bringing you the results previously. So let's say you started your ad set at $10 per day and you created 3 ad copies. And once you let it run for about 5 days, you figured that ad copy number 1 brought you 95% of the sales, while ad copy number 2 and ad copy number 3 were the ones that got you the other 5%. Now that you've created this $25 per day duplicated ad set, you want to go ahead and pause ad copy number 2 and copy number 3 and only let ad copy number 1 run, because that is the one that got you results for that specific audience. And this is again after you reach the $25 per day ad set. But what do you do after that's running well and now you want to even scale further? Now the next step would be to scale to $50 per day ad sets. This mostly applies to you if you did top 5 countries or any other country besides one specific country. You want to start taking note of the specific countries within that ad set which was performing the best. And when I say within that specific ad set, I mean all of the original ad sets for that specific audience. Use the breakdown tab on your Facebook Ads Manager to take a note of which countries brought you the majority of the results. Because let's say you did worldwide targeting, but you got 20 purchases on the duplicated $25 per day ad set, but 19 purchases came from the United States. It is logical for you to just target the United States on your duplicated ad set, which is going to be running at $50 per day, instead of targeting worldwide. You have gotten enough data to make that decision now, so now it is time to narrow down to the country that is giving you the results. But let's say you run this again for a few days and it is doing well. Now it is time to scale that even further to the $100 per day plus ad set level. And this is where you kind of bring everything in and start to do a really thorough breakdown. You could break down the placement, the device, the country, the ad copy that is performing the best. And in fact, I recommend that you do all of these. Look at all of the previous ad sets for that specific audience that were running and base all of your decisions on the data. Let's say you did auto placements, but you found out that all of those ad sets performed the best only on Facebook feeds, and for the device, only the mobile device worked the best, while the country United States was doing the best and ad copy number 1 was performing the best. You want to take all of these things into account and only target those things when you're doing the $100 per day ad set. This is really going to give you success because this is the proper way to split test when scaling. And doing all of these tricks when it comes to split testing on Facebook is really again going to give you advantage because you're supplying Facebook with the data that it needs to give you higher ROAS. So let's move on now and let's see the main factors to keep in mind when split testing. Remember guys, ROAS is king. Again, I'm going to repeat this. You can't take link clicks to the bank. I wish I could. I would have been a billionaire by now probably. But ROAS is king. Make sure you're always focusing on ROAS and using the other statistics to just back up what you have already found based on your running ad sets. Second thing, you want to give Facebook enough time to properly split test. I know losing money sucks, but think of it as investing rather than losing, because you're investing in your pixel and you're investing in your data. All of this data is not going to go to a waste. It is going to be stored within your pixel, and your pixel is going to work for you in your future. So give Facebook a little bit of time to split test. It is not magic and it is not going to work in a few seconds. You need to give Facebook enough time, and the only way to give Facebook enough time is to let it spend just a little bit until your profit margins. But what you can do to prevent from investing so much is you can cut losers fast and scale the winners gradually. If this were 2017 or 2018, I would have said cut losers fast and scale winners like a madman running through the jungle. But Facebook ads has changed a lot, especially this year, where you need a little bit more time to scale. But definitely cut those losers fast and let Facebook do its job by letting it gradually scale. And the fourth thing is for the products that do show results, don't be afraid to split test. I know a lot of people are scared that if you split test or change anything within a working ad set, that is going to turn to absolutely be horrible and it's not going to get you results. But that is why I recommend that you duplicate the ad set instead of changing anything in the original ad set. This gives you a much more chance of success because you're not playing around with the original optimized ad set. Because it is true that if you mess with the original ad set, Facebook is again going to go into optimization mode and take a lot of more time to get that newly changed ad set to optimize. So always be sure to duplicate before making any changes. But if you haven't started split testing yet, now is the time to start split testing, especially after watching this video. You want to apply the techniques mentioned in this video to really give you advantage over other people, specifically your competitors, and get a better chance of finding success with Facebook ads. But if you guys found any type of value in my video, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you guys next time.